He's like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 and music. Love, love.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. This is my review for Married to Medicine, Season 6, Episode 6. If you have not done so already, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and become a whole Jaybird. Hey, Jaybirds. Okay, we are not subscribers around here. We are Jaybirds. So come along, subscribe to the channel, become a Jaybird. You know, watch around, comments around, like the different videos, share the videos, all that good stuff, and then do not forget to also hit that notification bell because it lets you know when I have new videos up. This episode, it was good. It was very much so heavy, and with little sprinkles of Quad, Toya, and Contessa. I had to think about the names. I can think about them. So we see the beginning of it opens up. Toya and Eugene have broken ground on their plot lot or whatever to build their new home. They're happy. Look, this is what I know. Come season 7, come season 8, come season 9. Because I'm pretty sure this show will go on a few more seasons. If Atlanta's on season 11, I'm pretty sure Married to Medicine will get to at least season 10. And I'm gonna want to make sure that Toya and Eugene does not go bankrupt eventually, owe more taxes, or this house is gonna be like a She by Sheree house, chateau Sheree, and it's never been built. So I'm just hoping this, it all works out, because I can't believe this soon after being out of debt they're like building a house. But I just hope they can really financially afford it. So I just hope they can afford it. And it is what it is. She brings up how she has not told Contessa about it because her and Contessa ain't that close. And I'm looking like, bitch, Contessa got a whole bunch of stuff going on in her real life. She don't care. She gives zero fucks about you, Toya. Right now, Eugene brings up how he likes Scott. How Scott is a great guy. How they all like hanging out, and he does not want to have to deal with any issues because of her foolishness. And I like that he said to her, I don't want to have to not be that man's friend because your foolishness. Okay, your foolishness, meaning he knows the issues between her and Contessa is because the damn wife is fucking fool. Okay, point blank, period. They also bring up how Quad and Greg was giving different stories because of course they met with Greg at the little guys night, and her meeting up with Quad at the party where Quad is saying, which I'm trying my best to work things out, and he isn't doing this and this and this, but Greg is saying like she won't even talk to me. So again, it's two different stories, and I think mainly because I think they both have two different agendas. I feel like Quad is a storyline, whereas Gregory is trying to do damage control. So I think it's two different things, but I don't know why it's like Toya and Eugene. Nothing else? That's it? Okay. And that's all we see at Toya and Eugene this episode. We do see Heavenly and Jackie and Simone in Miami, well, in Florida. I don't think they're in Miami, but they're in Florida. Simone brings up how they used to be the Fab Five and kind of all getting along, and now, within the last season or two, it has not been that. And, she wants to hire everybody to kind of get along a little more. I'm like, no, y'all are beefing. Everyone is beefing for different reasons. And it's crazy, but they definitely are not as together as they have been. I think it's mainly because each person's marriage was going through some stuff, so they didn't have time to be happy-go-lucky all the time. But it was what it was. But they bring up, even though there are issues going on back at home, they want to enjoy this trip and be positive. So much so that when Toya called them with some bullshit, Jackie, Toya, we signal going back, girl. We'll call you back, and like hung up on her and said, look, we want this to be a positive trip. We don't have time for no bullshit, okay? Not for no bullshit. So we see them like kind of driving around. Simone can't drive. Okay, she seems to have a little bit of ignored road rage. It wasn't like angry road rage, but like just weird, like I don't care what's going on around me rage. It was just the weirdest thing ever. We see them go to a cigar shop, and I like how Simone said, I want to get my husband the best cigars. I like that even though her and Cecil are going through things, she's still thinking I can bring him a little gift back because he likes cigars. So I thought that was cute. Cute. Quad meets up with like one of her married couple friends from that group they had, that little focus group they had last season that did not do no kind of good because her and Gregory are even worse off now. And she brings up how things are not getting any better with her and Dr. G, and how it's crazy now. And they ask her like, well, what has he said about the things that has came out? The girl doing the whole interview, like, what has he said about it? And then she's like, well, he hasn't said much. He kind of just blames me, and I don't want to continue this. I wonder, it's the weird thing of, I feel like one or two things gonna happen. Y'all both live in the same household, okay? So I feel like, why haven't the cameras shown us anything? It's like, clearly that means they're not talking, because I feel like if they were in the same house, even if it was silence, they would show something. Like, they're not even showing them in the house together. It's like something ain't right. Like, I don't know what, but it's just weird. So I feel like we have not seen not one conversation that they have had about the situation. So did he really not say nothing? Like, nothing. Like, it's just, it's just weird. You know what I'm saying? And, she's like, I want to get back to when things were good between us. Which me is weird, because at one point you were saying how things have been bad for a couple years. Him saying how y'all have been sleeping in separate rooms after, being married for 2 years. So I'm wondering, I'm just confused. And that's why I said I feel like Quad is using it for storyline, and Dr. G is just trying to do damage control, because they both avoiding shit, and for the most part we're only getting Quad's side of things. And then the one time we hear from Greg, he just like, I don't, it's a weird things where I feel like y'all either gonna not address it at all, but this little half bullshit. Like, I feel like even with Jackie, even though we didn't hear from Curtis, she still talked about it from a true and honest place. I feel like Quad is setting up these scenes to say only what she wants to say. Like, I don't feel like any of these scenes that she's doing is really organic. I feel like she's going into these scenes knowing exactly what she wants to say. Like, it's like, okay, and scene is what I feel like she's doing, and I don't like it. Anyway, the friend brings up, like, what, maybe y'all need time apart to see how things will go, and that maybe when y'all closer, it may help y'all remember what y'all love about each other, or it could prove that y'all not supposed to be together, but maybe that's what y'all need, some space between the two of y'all. Okay. We see Mariah, Aiden, and Lauren out, and it was a very cute scene. They were taking her out to dinner, talking about, we're gonna talk about the birds and the bees. I don't think any parent should take their kid to a fancy restaurant to talk about the birds and the bees. I'm like, that's kind of like, talk about that at home. Like, go to McDonald's, get you a little, a little freezy, a little cherry limeade freezy or whatever, or go to 7-Eleven, get your little Mountain Dew icy, get you a little some Doritos, like just something little. Get some watermelon, and a little beer or something, a little long something. But I'm like, I wouldn't want my parents to take me to some little fancy restaurant to go in front of people and talk about the birds and the bees. I don't want to do that. No. But it kind of bring up her dating, because she's going into high school. I mean, she's about 13, 14 years old. Well, they joke before and say, well, she can't date until she's like 27 or some dumb age or whatever they said. And then, Aiden says, well, maybe wait till you're like in your second year of college. I was like, no. And so now they're talking about her dating and boys and that kind of stuff. And, I don't think she's ready for that at all. But when she asked him, well, Dad, when did you start dating? And he said, when I met your mama. You lying. You liar. And Mariah said, well, that ain't true because he dated before me. She then brings up he dated someone before me who looked like Heavenly. And I'm like, wait, before or after? Because, like, you know, the first season she was on, she looked different now. So I'm like, which Heavenly did he date? So that was kind of cute, and seeing him and Mariah go back and forth about what she did look like Heavenly, and he like, no, I don't think so. Well, she didn't look like me. Did she look like me? And it was a whole thing like, you can't say that girl looked like me, because if you do, you are upsetting me. You are insulting me. So him trying to kind of, it was cute. It was cute and it was funny. And honey, you're right. She looked like Heavenly. It's okay. I'm like, but doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. But again, still seeing the cute scene between them and that. I was like, okay, it was cute. Next, Contessa was really easy this episode. You know, she has agreed to do her surgery, so it's like the morning of her surgery, and you know, she's saying how she's up making breakfast for the kids, still want to get them off to school, but she's admitting to Scott that she's nervous and she's a bit teary-eyed because she's like, you know, it's a major surgery, and she says how she does not or has not fully explained what she's having done to her kids because her kids are so young, and she's like, I don't want them going to school worrying because the kids are still going to school. But she just said, like, Mom was going to the doctor, so I may be late, I may be home later to see y'all or whatever, but I'll be here later. So, but she just not said, like, Mommy's going to the doctor to have surgery. So they don't know that she's having surgery, which to me I think is a catch-22, because you don't want it to be like, my mama told me she was going to the doctor and she went and she died. Because sometimes that can traumatize kids and thinking, damn, if I go to the doctor, I'm not going to come home because mama went quickly for something and she never came back. But it also can be a thing of, you just should be as truthful as you can. But, you know, she's the mother. She makes the best decision. So I can see it both ways. Anyway, you know, so they go, drop the kids off of school. We see her daddy call her when she's in the car, you know, checking on her, whatever. Which said she said that calmed her nerves. And then we do see how she said she talked to Jackie a few weeks ago about it, even though Jackie was saying like the surgery is not a guarantee that she won't be cancer free. However, it does heighten her chances to not have to be, you know, she wouldn't have to get cancer. She would not get cancer based on her mom having it twice and plus her dad having it. So she just goes to the hospital. We don't see her have the surgery. We see her talking, you know, how she thinks it was a great idea to have it, and Scott saying how he's nervous or whatever. So that was all with Contessa today. Everything else is Heavenly. Heavenly set it up to where she can go back to the house that she lived in as a child. She like called the owner, and you know, before she went, she got it set up or whatever. So they're driving to see the house where she grew up in. And when she's driving there, her and Jackie were talking or whatever. Simone Ave was in the back seat, sleep, mouth open, snoring. Okay, and it took a minute for them to realize that her ass was asleep. Anyway, so while they're driving up there, she brings up how she has good memories and bad memories, and she feels like that's why she like kind of just doesn't come back. She brings up how her mom kept her very, very sheltered. Kept her very, very sheltered when she was little. How her sister, who's older than her, was able to go out and hang out and be, you know, loosey-goosey in the streets. She said her mama called her the good child, okay? And so because of that, she wasn't allowed to do anything. She said, I didn't go out, I didn't hang out, I was always at home or whatever. She said her sister, whose name was Denise, was the pretty one. And, you know, all the boys were chasing her, and her mom had told them both that y'all gonna both be doctors. She's like, but my sister did not become a doctor. It's like at one point she was working as a manager for my dental practice, but we don't get along, and I asked her to go, and now she works as a manager for someone else's dental practice. But whenever they show them, it's only them as kids, and they don't show her face. I think the funny thing is, her sister probably asked, don't put who I am, don't you do that shit, because I don't want people knowing who I am. That's like with me, my sister, she don't much really want to be seen a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I get how sometimes if one sister is on a different path that may be more public, the other one may say, I don't want to do that, leave me be. And I think it's because now of the show she's on, she just don't want to be, you know, Heavenly's sister. So, but she makes it clear that her sisters do not get along. Like they do not, like we do not get along at all. Like at all. I'm like, girl. So she brings up the reason that she kind of didn't hang out a lot. She said because it wasn't a lot to do around the area where I grew up. Like it was a lot of drug dealers around there. So I just there was nowhere to go. My dad was stationed in Germany, so he was back and forth a lot. He was not he was not never ever really around. And then once he came home, it was weird because he had been gone for so long. It always has been me, my mom, and my sister. So and she looked like her dad. Like they showed a picture of her dad. I'm like, oh, she looks like him very, very much so. And even pictures of her when she was younger, her daughter Laura looked just like her as a kid. It's them genes, baby. It's strong and them damn heavenly people. Jackie is listening to her talk. So Simone in the back seat missing all the shit, okay, whatever. But Jackie's listening to her talk, and she realized why Heavenly acts the way she does. She brings up how she didn't have any socialization skills. Like she did not interact with other kids, so she doesn't have that skill to be able to properly have conversations and properly have conflict because she didn't have that when she was younger. She was basically always at home, just in the house, which is crazy. So you do kind of see why she act like that a little bit. It's so weird. So when they get to the house, like when they pull up, she gets emotional. Like, oh, that's my house. Oh my God. Like she was emotional in the car outside. Okay. So, she brings up how back then she never even walked around her neighbors. Like I never walked around here at all. She then said that may have been why I was fat because I didn't get any exercise. I didn't go anywhere. I was always in the house or whatever. I did not go outside. I did not even know my neighbors. My neighbors I don't know who my neighbors are now. I didn't know who they was then. I'm like, well, damn. And that's crazy to think as a kid. So it's almost like she didn't have a childhood. She did not have any childhood with interaction with other kids. Probably besides the kids who she saw in school. But, even when she was getting home or whatever, she didn't have any other interaction. So it explains why she act out because she don't know no better. But at the same time, she old enough to know better. Okay, because even if you did not know how to interact with kids, you eventually became an adult, and you should be able to know what's just good behavior. So, why I understand why Hadley is abrasive and just conflict driven because she don't know how to interact with people. It's crazy, but I also feel like you should be able to see this shit ain't normal based on other people's interactions with your ass and know it's crazy. So, she get in the house and the owner was kind of cute. He wasn't all the way cute like I was looking like, oh, he was tall and tall. I was like, okay, hey owner, like he was a little cutie, okay, a little cutie on there. So she go in the house and she says like, oh, the house looks a little bit different than when I grew up. You can kind of tell the house looked like it was remodeled a little bit because it looks more current. Which I know I watch a lot of HGTV. So she brings up how things were a little bit different. The house was, redid and this and that. She then says like, well, this was my room, but it was smaller. Like they like knocked a wall out or whatever. But she said because when it was my room, I didn't have any windows. My room didn't have any windows, and it was very, very small. And she was like, for me, it was kind of weird that I had this very, very small room. And she's like, and then my mom would make us sleep with the lights on and we couldn't close any doors. And she also slept with her light on. And then I think either Simone or Jack wanted to say, well, she may have been scared of the dark. And so she may have always wanted the lights to be on. I said, if you sleep with the lights on and the doors open, that do mean you may be scared of something. Or you just don't. Because I'm like, who wants their light? I'm like, that's kind of crazy. Or it could be, hell, your daughter's in a room with no windows. I just want her last one light. I don't know. Anyway, she said for her, living in a room that didn't have any windows and it was like so small, so tight, so cramped. For her, she's like, my sole purpose in life was I never want to live in a small, confined space with no windows. And I can almost connect to that. Like the room that I had from, when we moved on Nevada, from like 96 until I don't know when. But the first house that we moved to as a family, me, my mom, my sister, my dad, once my mom and my dad got married or whatever, we got together. My room was really small. I had a window though, like I had a window to the front out the front of the house, so I had a window. But my room was my room was small enough to where a full size bed would like be the whole room. I would have like a couple feet in front, but it was a small room. It was what it was, but I had a window, and I didn't feel trapped. Because then I was so young, I didn't need a lot of space. I didn't. And then once we got older, we moved to a bigger house, and I got a bigger room. So, but it wasn't the size of a box. It wasn't that at all. It was like the size of not a full bed, a queen. A queen could fit. It was the size of a queen bed. It was the width of one, and then the length of it was that length too, with maybe like 4 or 5 feet of extra. So I had my bed and like a little table and a TV or whatever. But I was 12, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, but I can get that to where you have a small room. But I'm like, her thing was different because she was like, no windows. I think it's completely different. So she just, she brings up how even for her house now that she's in, she said my house is full of windows. Like, she's like, I have, that's a thing with me where I don't want to be anywhere with no windows. So she then is walking through the house, and it was a different heavenly, because when she got to this room, she started whispering. She's like, this is the room where my father died. You know what I'm saying? And I did not know if I was gonna say it out loud in front of everybody, but he died in this room. So she did not go in the room. She stood outside of the room, and she just said, this is the room. And she was whispering, and you can tell she was like realizing stuff. So she said, he died my first year of dental school. And I remember, she's like, she said, my mom woke up and he had been dead all night, and he just, he never got up for work. And I'm like, that's crazy. That it was because my father passed away at our house, you know what I'm saying, and now it's him and my mom owned. So it is a thing to think, okay, that's where someone passed away at. But for her memory of it was painful because it felt like she had never like said it, like she had never said, or like she had never like been there. And then she said, she's like, I had not been back here since then. So she's like, I remember my mom called me and told me he passed away. And she said, when she said it, I didn't process it. And she said, I said back to my mom, okay, I have to do class. I have to do something. Like she had work to do for school. I'm going to call you back. And the mom then said, you don't have to come back if you don't want to. It's fine if you don't come back. And then she said, I don't think my mom got that. I didn't say that to say I didn't want to come back for the funeral. I said it because I wasn't processing what she said to me. And she was crying or whatever. So, she's like, and I had not been back in this house since then. She's like, I had not been back. And she grabbed Jackie and kind of pulled Jackie close to her. And I felt like it was because she was having a whole out-of-body experience. You know what I'm saying? She got hot. She had a bit of a panic attack. She's like, is it hot in here? Is it hot? I gotta go. So she had to quickly get out the house because she panic attack. So she said, I just realized I didn't think about the fact that he died here until that moment. Like, even coming back to come to the house, I forgot that he died in this house, in that room. And it wasn't until that moment that I remembered it. And again, it was her finally realizing something that as she said herself, I feel like I blocked out that memory until that very moment. And then, she's like, even though, he was gone most of our childhood, she still know that he loved her. And she was emotional. You know what I'm saying? She was emotional, whatever. She wanted to get into the car. So, they went and got back to the car. And, when Jackie said, she's like, I came back for the funeral. And I left again. And I never came back to Florida, period. I went back to school and I did not come back at all. And in the car talking to Jackie and Simone, Jackie was like, do you want to go back in there like have like clothes? She's like, no. It's like I don't ever have to go back in the house. I don't ever have to come back here. Period. She's like, my whole purpose in life was to get out of that little ass room, and I'm out, and I don't need to come back. And I feel like little pieces of Heavenly's armor is chipping away of her. Little stuff that she said she did not even. The fact that you could not that you didn't remember going back to the house that that's a whole memory to be blocked out. I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I was like, wow. So we then see Heavenly, like, her and the girl, she meets up with like her old friends or whatever, from like high school and like college a little bit too. So her, Simone, and Jackie meet up with these girls. Three girls, like one white girl and two black girls. And, they bring up how Heavenly used to drink Mad Dog 2020 and how she was, she was still the same person then that she is now. They pulled out the yearbook where she had these 3 gold chains. And she said that she kept saying her sister was the pretty one. Heavenly wasn't ugly back then. I think some people who are plus size be like, I'm not cute because I'm not skinny. Bitch, I'm gorgeous. Okay? And I feel like Heavenly keep calling her sister the pretty one because she probably felt ugly because she wasn't skinny, so to speak. But I'm like, Heavenly wasn't ugly. Heavenly looks like her daughter. And her daughter isn't ugly. So I'm like, Heavenly isn't ugly. She looks different looking sometimes. And I feel like her energy and her inside sometimes makes her look ugly, but she, I'm like, you look regular. But they brought up how she has not changed. She was the same way that she's on the show, how she is real slick with her mouth. She was the same way back then. Her and the white girl was kind of going back and forth. Where even Heavenly said the only reason you did something was because you was white, that you beat me whatever because you was white. I'm like, Lord Jesus. But they do say, that how she was abrasive back then too, but that's just who she was. And it was what it was. And the one girl said, even though I do wish sometime that she could be softer at times with how she talks to people. And so that's kind of how it goes off with Heavenly saying how she's happy she came back, and she's happy they came with her, and that she had a couple weights lifted off her shoulders, and she had to face things in her past that she had been avoiding and not realizing. I do hope that Heavenly continues. I hope she talked to her sister. I do hope she can kind of clear that spirit off her, because you cannot, have hatred for your siblings. It's just not smart. Okay, you just can't do that. But yeah, it was a heavy Heavenly episode. But I loved how they showed us parts of Heavenly we had no idea how she was, and it kind of is showing how she is tough like that, because that's how she didn't know no better. I feel like even the way that she talked to people how her mama probably talked to people. So for her, that's all she knew. So once she got older, she like, my mama called people bitches and hoes. That's what I'm gonna do too. And so she also probably hid things away with her father not being there, her and her sister not getting along. So it's like she has never had a good representation of relationships. So yeah. Anyway, I'm done. Put your comments below. I am Jay Lee. This is Jaylee's Corner. Peace.
It's like love, 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 and music.